Pressure point.
All right, round 8 done and dusted. That was a pretty enjoyable round of footy, wasn't it?
A lot of close games going on. It was good to see. If football was at I don't know if you say a high quality if you consider yesterday's game between Geelong and Freo, but there were some good ones.
Yeah, Freo and Geelong game, arguably the worst game of all time. Some are calling it.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I think Freo were one goal off the lowest score in the last 60 years.
They were. I mean, the conditions didn't help, but still.
No, it was shocking conditions. It was bucketing from the get-go, but yeah.
But not great. But yeah, overall, the weekend's games of footy were really good. Thursday night was close. Then, a couple of games on the Saturday were pretty close too. And then you had the Sunday one, the early one, where Adelaide nearly got their first win over Essendon. So it's been a good round. It was a really good round. I enjoyed it. Obviously, apart from Monday night, but it was good. It was good to see. So... and there was a few new contenders to emerge, and definitely a new flag favourite that is looking very ominous at the moment.
Well, if you go back 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were saying the Eagles were, we didn't see them doing much at all this season. Next thing they turn around and they're probably the flag favourites, you'd think, after dismantling Collingwood.
I think just the way they're going about it, it's just... They're looking very dangerous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it helps that they're at home.
They're at home, yeah.
That helps big time. With the crowd and, that excitement back in the game that they probably weren't getting up in Queensland. But yeah, exactly right. They're definitely on fire.
All their big names are really starting to hit some form now. Andrew Gaff's back to his best. Josh Kennedy, who we'll get to, is just unbelievable. And even Tim Kelly now is starting to really look settled at West Coast. I know he's definitely featuring in the pressure point votes as of late. So... all things are looking really good for West Coast, and if the finals or wherever the grand final gets played, if it does end up getting played in Perth, surely that's their flag for them, isn't it?
Well, I think it's theirs to lose at the moment.
Yeah.
With the form that they're in, I mean, Collingwood would have been in good form, and they looked like a second class team against West Coast. So you'd have to say they're flag favourites, and it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see what happens. A big talking point from the weekend's games is the top midfielders not getting looked after by the umpires. In particular, Patrick Cripps against North Melbourne, where it just seemed like he was getting assaulted and had 2 or 3 hanging off him and dragging him down, and the umpires just didn't seem to pick it up.
Well, the vision that's been going around all weekend, I know most people have probably seen it by now, but yeah, he had 2-on-1s most of the time, and they were just tackling him. He didn't even have the ball. It was nowhere near him, so... I don't know how the umpires missed that, especially because they've been so soft with their free kicks as of late. Especially for key forwards, they can't, take a mark without getting their jumper tugged and a free kick being paid. And then they miss, key midfielders like Cripps being dragged to the ground. I don't understand how they miss it. But
exactly right. I feel like the forwards are getting protected and, defenders are getting protected for incidents like that. But, your top ball winners need to be protected a lot more. The same happens to Dusty as well. Like Nat Fyfe, they all get this sort of attention, and it doesn't get picked up all the time. And I think the Cripps one was just very obvious from the weekend with that that vision that you were talking about, where he literally got dragged down. He got manhandled off the ball.
Oh, he got pulled to the ground. I understand if they're tugging his jump and the umpire missed that, but he got tackled basically.
Exactly right. Yeah, it wasn't like a subtle hold or anything. Was
no,
it?
He got dragged to the ground. How do you miss that?
It's like North had a game plan just to go after him, and
they get away with it. Even if they give away 2 free kicks a game, it's worth it because they keep Cripps quiet.
Yeah, absolutely, and they did.
Yeah.
So, and he's in saying that, Cripps has had by his standards, he hasn't had his best season just because he's such a good player. But it's because of this.
Yeah. This has definitely contributed.
Every week he's having players hanging off him like this.
Yeah, so. Carlton are just lucky that they've hit another level this year so far, and they don't need him anymore.
Other players have chimed in.
Yeah, they don't need him to win anymore because otherwise they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. So I believe Carlton has put in a complaint to the AFL.
Yeah, and so they should, because this won't only open it up for Cripps, but every other midfielder as well that gets manhandled like this. So
for sure.
I'm all for tagging. I love to see a player get tagged because it's just it's the battle between the two players, but. Yeah. Come on, I don't want to see them get dragged off the ball when, they're nowhere near it.
But it wasn't just tagging by one player. It was, 2 or 3 players just jumping on him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not the classic tag that, you can enjoy watching it. It was awful to see. So I hope Carlton bringing this up will hopefully open it up for a lot of other midfielders.
Yeah, let's see how we go with that. And another big talking point over the last 24 hours actually was Former Hawthorn great Don Scott has come out with some massive allegations regarding Hawthorn's salary cap in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, there's the secret credit cards, I reckon, coming from Tasmania, paying players under the table.
That is huge, isn't it?
Now, I don't know how you feel about this, but if they do the AFL does an investigation into this, because that's serious claims, and they find that Hawthorn was guilty of doing it, do they strip them of flags? Because some of the players that they were keeping in that time, they had some stars. Gary Ayres, Dermot Brereton, just Jason Dunstall. They've got some big players. If they're blowing the salary cap like that and it gets found that they were guilty of it, do they get stripped?
I mean, it's happened. I mean, in other sports it's happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I guess it was, 30 years ago now, and, and it wasn't even in the AFL era. That's how long ago it was. But I don't know, surely, they have to have some... I mean, you can't punish the current team because, it was 30 years ago, but... Do you take away their premierships, or what happens there? You reckon they just don't look into it?
I think they have to look into it, don't they?
Well,
I think they have to do their due diligence and look into it.
Well, yeah, it'd be wrong if they didn't.
Yeah, it's a really hard one. I mean, if they do find stuff that is proven that they're cheating, then they have to, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean... This might hit home a bit harder for you being a Carlton supporter, knowing you guys got done with the salary cap.
Yeah.
So Carlton got found, whilst they were doing it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a little bit different. You're not talking 30 years in the past, but yeah, surely something comes from it.
I think it's just because Hawthorn won a lot of flags during that era. That's what's going to be the tough one. Like whether you take all those flags off them.
Well, they won, I think, 4, wasn't it?
They won heaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a big blow if they take away their flags.
Oh, I'm not sure about it. I think the AFL needs to look into it though. It's just a massive allegation, and I don't think they can ignore it. And if they do, then that's going to look even more suspicious.
Yeah, it'll make them look even more guilty because and it'll look like the AFL has already known about it.
Correct. Yeah. So I think they have to look into it, and whether they get their flags taken off them or not, that's something we'll have to wait and see. But we'll get into the round 8 games, starting way back on Thursday night between Gold Coast and the Bulldogs. So this was a really close game, a good one. It was wet as well. Gold Coast, geez, they were that close to winning it as well.
I mean, not to they were sniffing around, weren't they?
They had their chances to win late, and they missed a lot of shots. I know Isaac Rankin kicked 1 goal 4.
Yeah,
it was exciting though.
Oh, but just when he gets the ball, you just feel that excitement in the air that he's going to do something special. I mean, 1 goal 4 isn't exactly special, but for a young player to be getting the footy like he does, it's it's a big thing.
That hanger in the last quarter, wet footy, it stuck to him. It was great to see.
Can I just say as well, this game here is proof that even in wet football, you can still have good games.
Yeah,
so that Geelong Freo one we mentioned earlier was an awful game of football. It was wet, but it doesn't have to be. It's not like it's wet. It's doomed to be a bad game. This game here shows otherwise. So
correct. Yeah, and the Bulldogs had to play unbelievable footy to get over the line there as well. So and the Dogs looked really good. But yeah, I think the Gold Coast lost no fans from that game. They were quite impressive. And yeah, the Rankin show just keeps rolling. But he wasn't in the votes this week. Big Isaac.
He missed out, unfortunately.
Surprisingly.
If he had kicked his 4 points, he probably would have been 3 votes.
Correct. Yeah. But we gave 1 vote to David Swallow, who's putting together some really good form. 2 votes to Took Miller, and 3 votes to Jack McRae, who was really starting to make a charge in the voting with us. I think he's hit top 5 now, I believe.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. It's a late charge for him, but it's good.
Yep. Friday night's game between GWS and Richmond. I'll let you take over this one.
More than happy to do so. No, look, I mean, going into the first half of the game, I wasn't too upset. I thought the Tigers were okay. I thought both teams were pretty decent. I would have thought. I mean, Richmond as well, having a fair few players missing. I thought it was quite a good contest. It was close. We wasted opportunities, though, up forward. Richmond, that is, wasted a lot of opportunities. And, I mean, in the end, it showed. I mean, GWS, I think, got up by a goal or 2 or something like that. It was very close in the end, but I think Richmond probably should have come away with 4-goal winners or something like that with the amount of shots that they've missed. But in saying that, no one was stopping Toby Green from booting 5 goals, and geez, he's a superstar.
He's a freak show. He's unbelievable.
He isn't. I
love him.
Yeah, I can't. I used to sort of be against him. I think because he was so. You just don't like players that are good. But I can't help but be drawn towards watching him play. He's just so exciting.
Yep.
Even kicking the goals against Richmond, I'm watching him going, geez, that's impressive.
Like,
you can't even hold anything against him for it. And yeah, GWS I think just showed, and it was a close game. I think it still showed that they've got the ability to win those sort of games. Even though against depleted Richmond, they're missing players themselves. So I think they're like 4 grand final players short or whatever compared to what they had last year's granny. So
Yep.
yeah, so they had a bit of a few outs as well, and it was just a great game for the Giants.
Yeah, it was massive for them to get the win, especially after the grand final.
Yeah.
I think they needed to show something after that. And Toby Green, I think he's their best player now.
Oh, he has to
He's
be,
their most
isn't he?
important player. When he's on, they're on. The things he can do in the forward line is incredible. He's just he's a freak.
And he's not just a small forward that kicks crumbs. Like he kicked a goal from 45
Yeah.
metres out. Like he kicks big goals.
Yeah, he's a superstar, out and out superstar. But yeah, we'll go to the votes for that game. So we gave Dusty Martin 1 vote, which is his first vote for the year.
which is rare for Dusty, I think.
It took him to round 8 to get a vote. It's incredible considering the player that he's been the last few years. 2 votes to Josh Kelly and 3 votes to Toby Green. The game on the Saturday afternoon was between North Melbourne and Carlton at the Gabba. An interesting game, this one. I mean, like the Blues in the first quarter looked unbelievable. They really just showed that, okay, they're going to put the foot down on a struggling team. It was really impressive the way they were playing. They were all, looked like they were just continuing the form from the last couple of weeks. But after quarter time, North really, really fought back. And they made it a real contest and made things very scary towards the end. I mean, as a Carlton supporter, I wasn't really too nervous. Like, we never really looked like losing, but I was just disappointed that we let North back into it. I just felt like we were just making costly errors. A bit lazy. And geez, North did have their chances, especially on the 3/4 time siren with Jasper Pittard turning that ball.
Oh, he'd be very sheepish facing his teammates, wouldn't he, this week?
That was horrible from him.
That was poor. I mean, I know, people saying Murphy dived.
Oh, Murphy didn't even know he was coming.
Yeah, even if it was a light push, just getting shoved without realising, you can trip over yourself that easily. Like, if you know what I mean? It definitely didn't dive. He definitely didn't dive, but
yeah,
it was just, undisciplined from Pittard.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do it.
Shocking behaviour. If North kicked that goal, they go in front at 3/4 time, and who knows from there.
Well, it changes everything, doesn't it?
Correct. And then Carlton ends up winning by 7 points. That probably changes the game right there. But a few things I noticed from the game. Will Setterfield's having a really good year. He's really stepping up with Cripps being a bit down on form. He's that other big body midfielder that's really coming through. He was a high draft pick, and he's really showing us why he's highly touted at the club. And then Sam Doherty finally got to play his 100th game.
Jeez, that's weird to say. I feel like he's been around for so long.
It makes him sound like a really young player, but just because with his knee injuries and
He's
all
currently
that.
co-captain of your club.
I know, and he's just played his 100th game then, so it's
Well deserved.
Couldn't be happier for him, and I'm more glad that we got the win for him than anything else. He deserved that with everything he's been through and the leader that he is around the club. But the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to Lockie Plowman, 2 votes to Matthew Kennedy, and 3 votes to Will Setterfield. Saturday afternoon, it was Sydney and Hawthorn at the SCG. Jeez, last week we did say Hawthorn can't lose this, can they?
Well, they came out and did just that.
Jeez.
So, I tell you what I did like to see from this game, though. I loved the beef between Papley and Tom Mitchell. I just love a bit of fire in the game. It was good to see sort of players.
It was great.
Players go, at each other. Papley kicks a goal, goes and rubs it straight into Mitchell. Then down the other end, Mitchell kicks a goal, and his teammates get around, rubbing Papley on the head and letting him know.
Yeah.
I thought it was great to see.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
I mean, there was who said it was Lee Montagna coming out and saying there should be a taunting rule?
Yeah, Lee Montagna wants a ban to be on players taunting because it's an embarrassing look for the game. I think it's great. It shows that you're passionate about your club too. Like, you're going against the opposition. I think it's good. I mean, depending what you're saying, of course, but
It's more embarrassing for Lee Montagna to come out and say that, to be honest.
he just looks a little bit
come
timid
on,
now, doesn't
mate.
he?
That's just ridiculous. It's all a part of the game, that sort of stuff. It's up to the player that's getting taunted. It's up to them to be more disciplined, to not, retaliate.
Well, that's the whole
Isn't it?
part of it. It's getting into the opponent's head and, letting him know you're there. And if he decides to react, well, then you've won.
Exactly right.
So it's all a game. It's a game within a game, really. And I think it's all for, play on.
Ridiculous. I can't believe that was even talked about, to be honest. And then Evan Clarkson said something about Papley, didn't he? He said he
milks free kicks
better than anyone.
What did he milk his 4 goals?
Well, apparently he only got 1 free kick anyway that game. So
Yeah, so
he must be milking him pretty bad.
Yeah, that he only got the 1. But yeah, I think speaking of Papley, he was a star, wasn't he?
Oh, he's unbelievable.
His
We
dollar
say this
value-
every week, but
yeah,
he's,
but his dollar value shot through the roof. I know the Blues are looking at getting him, but they're going to have to pay a little bit more for
we're
him.
going to have to
now,
give
aren't
up something really good for him.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, but oh my god, every time I watch him, just like if we ended up getting him last season, wowee, that would have been unbelievable. But
Would have been huge.
yeah, he's probably the best small forward in the game, I'd say. Well, I wouldn't say probably he is.
I think he has
definitely
to. He has to be.
Yeah.
I can't remember the number, but there's a ridiculous amount of consecutive games that he's kicked at least one goal.
Yeah.
And it's higher than anyone else in the league at the moment. It just shows that, even as a small forward, he's just tearing it up.
Yeah, between him and Charlie Cameron, it'd be those two that would be
had to
vying
be
for the best.
The best small forward in the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, but no, it was I think that game was played in the wet as well. There was a lot of games in the wet over the weekend.
Surprisingly, Melbourne was the only place that wasn't raining this weekend.
know.
And we had no footy.
Ridiculous. But the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to Jager O'Meara, 2 votes to Jake Lloyd, and 3 votes to the Pap. Saturday night, Port Adelaide and St Kilda. So this was dubbed as one of the matches of the round for us. It definitely lived up to it. It was pretty close up until the last quarter.
Oh, definitely. And I know there was a few people excited to watch this game, especially early Saturday Arvo. I don't know. It was just a big game, wasn't it? And and Saints really showed Port that they're, maybe not as strong a contender as I thought they might have been.
Yeah, or does that just show how the Saints are actually quite good?
Well, yeah,
You know?
you can take sort of either side, can't you? There,
Yeah.
It shows either Port maybe aren't as good as they thought, or Saints are better than people, thought they were. So
Yep.
great to see, and Dan Butler is just at it again, isn't he?
Oh, again, and there's another small forward that's probably vying for that spot as well as the best in the comp.
He's pushing.
Ever since he's moved from Richmond, he's been incredible. Paddy Ryder had his best game in a Saints jumper as well.
Yeah,
he was,
for sure,
kicked
against
a couple
his
of
old
goals
club.
against his old side. Yep, really good to see. But as I said, the scores were really tight up until probably 5 to 10 minutes into the last quarter, and then the Saints were able to kick away. They only kicked 1 point for the game, which I think is a record.
Has to be,
Yeah.
has to be a record.
So they were incredibly impressive.
It just shows the Saints' maturity as well.
Yeah.
So, like in that last quarter to be able to hold steady and then, kick away and not
Again,
pull
and-
back into the game.
Especially with Port having their fans as well. Like it was a pretty
Yeah.
intimidating crowd.
Oh, 100%. The adult fans down in Adelaide are
Yeah.
very aggressive. So to be able to do that
Yeah.
definitely shows the maturity and how they're growing.
And for those of you that listened to our podcast probably a couple of weeks ago now, we had Richo on, the lovely Saints mate, and I messaged him on Saturday night after the game just saying Saints, and he replied saying we are officially elite. So he's changed his tune in a couple of weeks.
Well, from going to put money on Adelaide to beat St Kilda to now calling them elite, that's a very big change.
So so it's fair to say he's quite happy, and I think he's back on the Saints now.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah. But we'll go to the votes. So we had 1 vote to Rowan Marshall, 2 votes to Paddy Ryder, and 3 votes to Hunter Clark, who arguably had his best game for the Saints. Sunday, Adelaide and Essendon.
Jeez, this was very close to being a very funny episode for us, wasn't it?
I mean, we joked about it last week, saying, could this be Adelaide's first win? And
And then, we did say, there's no chance. There's no way Adelaide will get close to Essendon. But, geez, they almost pinched a win.
this would have been, personally, it would have been nice to see. But we try to be as unbiased as possible here on the podcast. And
It's all fun and games.
yeah. But Adelaide had their chances. They were very wasteful. They kicked 1 goal 6 in the last quarter.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah. So they
they
almost
kick
should have
even
won it.
3 more of those, they win the game.
Yeah, they almost should have done it. Essendon do look like a team that's missing a few stars, and they are looking a bit shaky. I
Yeah,
feel.
they are, that without that sort of star power, it does hurt clubs for sure. But I think that probably shows they're relying on them a bit too much,
Yeah.
a bit too heavily. But yeah, they didn't look like a top 8 side as they have in previous weeks. That's for sure.
Nah. And then Conor McKenna made a comical error, didn't he? Kicking to himself did he kick it to himself and then he missed it or something? Or was it a fresh airy?
No,
What did
it
he
was
do?
actually really impressive. He's running through the middle of the ground, and instead of bouncing it, he's just done like a little kick to himself like they used to do out of full back.
Oh,
And
that's right. He did.
And he's just kept running.
But he also did a fresh airy.
Oh, did he? I must have
And
missed that one.
Adelaide went on and kicked a goal from it.
See, I must
Yeah.
have missed that one, but I
Yeah.
saw the one he did in the middle of the ground, and I
Yeah.
thought that was actually quite impressive.
Yeah.
Considering he's a man that we are, not too long ago, we're giving him to him a bit. I should give him credit when he does something pretty impressive like that.
But no, it was So that was a really entertaining game. And yeah, I think Adelaide are definitely improving, and they've gone from being uncompetitive to competitive now. And I think they're they're not too far away from a win.
Well, I was about to say, it wasn't long ago we were saying we don't see them winning any games. But
Yeah.
after this, I reckon you'd be surprised now if they don't.
Yeah, for sure. The votes, we gave Lachlan Murphy 1 vote for his 3 goals, 2 votes to Andrew McGrath, and 3 votes to Zach Merritt, who was easily best on ground. The other game on the Sunday was between West Coast and Collingwood. This was dubbed the match of the round, and it certainly didn't live up to it, that's for sure.
Not at all, but I tell you what, as we mentioned earlier, a new flag favourite definitely emerged.
Absolutely. Eagles looked unbelievable. Pretty much after quarter time, and Collingwood were winning at quarter time, but then West Coast after that just put the foot down.
No, West Coast and led by Josh Kennedy.
Yeah, kicked 7 straight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In a shortened game.
And he kicked a couple from the boundary line, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure. Like, that was ridiculous the way he was playing.
Yeah.
To the point where, it was late in the last, so I don't see the point of it, but Collingwood had to swap defender. They put Brody Myercheck back there on him to try and stop. I thought he's already kicked 7 at this point.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit too little too late, I would have thought. But
Yeah,
Pies, they did look like a team missing some key players, but
for sure.
that's very unlike them to have a performance like they did.
Yeah, it was very out of character. I haven't seen Collingwood get smashed like that in a long time.
It was actually quite nice.
It was refreshing. But yeah, no, it was very ominous from the Eagles, and I think that has put them into flag favouritism, and rightly so with the amount of the games that they're going to have in Perth for the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And they made Collingwood look shaky. I thought they looked a bit nervous almost. They didn't know where to kick it. They
bit
looked
overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed, a bit lost. Like they're just sort of kicking it long, hoping for the best and turning it over a bit. It's just, they just sort of shook Collingwood up, I think.
Yeah. And it's that the home ground factor's back as well. Their crowd gets involved, and it's back to that old, everyone knows that Perth Stadium is like that with their fans. They influence the umpiring, they influence a lot of things there.
Oh, big time.
Because they're just so loud.
But in saying that, if Collingwood was playing at the MCG and they had 80,000 Pies supporters, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just, obviously this year they're not going to get that.
Correct.
But in saying that, if you want to contend, you're still going to be able to put up a fight, even, with a few opposition fans yelling at you.
Yeah, absolutely. The votes for that game, so we gave 1 vote to Tim Kelly, 2 votes to Andrew Gaff, and 3 votes to Josh Kennedy. The Sunday night game was between Melbourne and Brisbane. This one was, it became an absolute nail-biter towards the end.
A lot closer than I think anybody expected it to be.
Brisbane had a fair lead, and Melbourne really, really brought it back late. And I thought that they almost looked like they were going to win it. They probably should have won it. They were all over Brisbane, and there was just a few costly errors at the end that really got them.
Yeah, it was one of those classic scenarios where they probably had more of the football and was winning more of it and just couldn't get it on the scoreboard. The scoreboard didn't reflect the way they played at the end of the game, but geez, once again, another team that showed maturity to sort of, drag the lead back and get closer to a team like Brisbane, who's sitting on top of the ladder now equally with Port. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's just a sort of a job done for Brisbane, I reckon. They'll be relieved with that win. As you said, that puts them equal top. And Melbourne, but Melbourne have definitely improved anyway.
Yeah, they've shown really good signs.
Yeah.
Compared to where they were sitting, only 4 weeks ago or so.
Correct.
Looking a bit like Adelaide, not probably weren't going to win many games. Weren't too exciting. This showed otherwise. A late 50-meter penalty in the game, gave Brisbane, a bit more breathing room and sort of made things completely different. So you take that 50-meter penalty away, and who knows? For sure.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, as I said, Melbourne. If I reckon there was another 3 to 5 minutes left in that game, I reckon they would have won it. So, but the votes for that game, we'll give 1 vote to Clayton Oliver, 2 votes to Dane Zorko, and 3 votes to Lachie Neale, who is back in a big way, isn't he?
He's back. He had a week off from the pressure point votes, but he's crawled his way back in.
Yeah, and he's absolutely smashing it at the moment. He's 7 votes clear, which he's going to be hard to beat from here.
Which, let me say, I think it's still remarkable that our other man, Matt Rowell, still sitting number 2.
He is still second.
He hasn't played in 3 or 4 weeks, and he's still second on the list.
It shows how good he was.
And also just shows the inconsistency with some players in their form.
Yeah, no one's really making a real charge, have they?
Apart from Lachie Neale, I feel like everybody, they're having decent games, but no one's really having a blowout year.
Yeah, so... But no, it's good to see. I think he's, he should win the Brownlow this year, you'd think.
Very surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah. The Monday night game, as we were saying before, probably the worst game, or definitely the worst game of the season, and arguably one of the worst games ever, between Freo and Geelong.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stinker.
Atrocious conditions. Horrible. Probably the worst conditions you can play in front of. Like, it was it was raining the whole match. And it wasn't just light rain, it was heavy rain.
It was heavy rain.
Yeah.
You know it's heavy rain when you're watching it and you see the camera get water drops on it. That's when you know it's wet.
Correct. Yeah.
But it was sloppy. It was, I don't know, it was just a bad game in general to watch.
Bad game for a multi as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I was way off on my multi last night. A few things didn't come to fruition, like Dangerfield not getting 20. How often does that happen?
It never happens. I know, it was ridiculous. It was, bad night. I think there was 3 goals kicked by halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah. You know, and
ridiculous.
I not that it's all about me and my multi, but I had Matt Taberner for 2 goals. And, you know, Freo kicked 2 goals for the whole game. You know, he having one of them, but still, like, you know, they kicked 2 for the whole game, and I had one play for 2. So it just goes to show that, you know, how easily a wet weather game can sort of change everything.
Absolutely. I think it's a game to forget, and it's definitely a game we can skip past. So we'll go straight to the votes for that one.
Well, just quickly, actually, we'll cut you off. One thing I do think can't be skipped past.
Okay.
Is why on earth Tom Hawkins thought it was okay to take his shorts off and throw them into the crowd walking down the ramp.
That is bizarre. Never seen that.
Who does he think he is, Zoolander, when he takes his jocks off with his pants? You know what I mean? And then he walks down the ramp with his jocks off. How is that okay?
I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it.
And think about this. He was running around. It was wet. Those would have been the most disgusting pair of shorts to have to take home with you. And someone wanted them?
Did someone ask for him, or is he just throwing them over?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, someone probably as a joke said, throw us your shorts. That's the only scenario I can think that would have made him think, this would be a good idea.
That's bizarre. I find that
And he was singing the song in his jocks. They should have kept him out of the circle for that. That talk about social distancing.
Oh, God. He had a good night, though. I think he kicked 3 goals, didn't he?
Which
is pretty good in that weather.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 of them were off the ground, so
yeah,
2 of them were off the ground. But he's still
for a big guy.
Yeah, he was still around it a fair bit, which is good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what, do you think his 3 goals lets him off the hook for taking his pants off?
No, probably not.
Yeah,
No.
I wouldn't have thought so.
But no, we will get to the votes for that game. We gave 1 vote to Andrew Brayshaw, who's having a very good year. 2 votes to Mitch Duncan and 3 votes to Cam Guthrie. So that's round 8 done and dusted. It was a really, as I've said, really good round. Really, a lot of close games, and a lot of things to emerge from that. But yeah, as we've been doing lately, well, as we said from last week, we're going to combine the 2 rounds together, considering the amount of games that are getting played at the moment. So we're going to do our round 9 preview as well, which does start on Wednesday night between the Bulldogs and Richmond. This is at Metricon Stadium, and 5-day turnaround for the Tigers.
Yeah, and well, I know Richmond have been given a bit of a bad draw for these 20 games in a row. We've got a 5-day turnaround, a 4-day turnaround, and another 5 days. So we're playing a lot of games, but I think this is a great opportunity for Richmond to sort of, I mean, we had a loss last week. We probably should have won. Only a few days to turn it around and get back and have another chance to get a win. So I think this would be a great chance for them to lift. I mean, Richmond's key forwards have been in the media a lot this week as well. Tom and Jack Rewell. Well, just for their lack of performance, I guess. I mean, both key midfielders, forwards, not midfielders. I'd be worried if they were midfielders. key forwards, probably 2 of the best in the game normally, and they can't seem to kick goals. Yeah, which is your main job as a forward. So, I know. I mean, the delivery, mind you, probably hasn't been as clean as it normally has. But I just feel like I don't know what the problem is down there. I feel like they'll sort it out, whatever it is, when we get some maturity back inside with Cochin coming back in this week. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting challenge, especially coming up against the Dogs who are looking to make it 3 in a row and push into the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think Tom Lynch is affected by his broken hand or finger, whatever it is?
I don't think so. I feel like because it's not. I mean, mind you, like I know last week especially, he had 2 defenders on him every time he went up for the ball, so that doesn't help. But it's his kicking as well. Like he got a free kick early in the game against the Giants, and it was a relatively easy kick, and it never looked like going through. And it's opportunities like that you can't waste, especially in games against good sides. So I don't know if it's just the goal kicking. I don't know if it's a confidence issue at the moment. I'm not sure what it is, but okay. I don't think it's his hand. I think it's just maybe a mental thing at the moment. They need to sort of get over that hurdle and move forward from it. But like I said, coming up against the Dogs, it's not going to be an easy week to do so.
Did you say Cochin was back?
Cochin, the Tigers, they've said Cochin's back, so that's huge. And then I don't think he'll be in every game for these next 20 with soft tissue injuries and stuff like that. They're going to try and monitor him, but he's back this week, which we need.
Definitely.
We need desperately. We've got a few players that are underperforming at the moment, which when you've got a few players that are injured and not available, that hurts.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then, it's really testing your depth.
Yeah.
But I think we've got the numbers to cover it, and it'll just be interesting to see how we go against a Dog side that's although being inconsistent, they're looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, as I said, they've looked good the last couple of weeks, and they've beaten some good opponents too. So they are looking like the team that everyone predicted them to be this season as well. So,
Yeah, definitely. Or since that big loss against Carlton, they've really turned it around. So
exactly right.
It was a big wake-up call.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to tip the Dogs just.
Yeah,
Just.
I think I'm going to go the Tigers. We are favourites at the moment. I just think with Cochin back, it might make a difference for us. And we were so close last week. I just think if we miss those easy shots that we missed, we should get over the line. I'm going to say, but same as you, just.
Yeah.
I can't see it being a blowout in any means. I think Tigers just.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very close game, this one. It'll be good. Yeah, that starts, so that Wednesday night game starts the 20 days of footy, doesn't it?
Well, which is great, because only yesterday, we're recording this on a Tuesday. Yesterday we had the game on a Monday, 1 day off, and then we're straight back into it again. I'm loving it.
This is the last day without footy for nearly 3 weeks.
Yeah. But do you reckon the quality of football is going to drop now because there's too many close turnarounds? Or do you think it'll be about the same?
Potentially. I think teams will definitely rotate some players through. Some players will be managed, but I don't know. I think the players are going to enjoy it. I mean, they're in the hubs. They've got nothing else to do. They just want to play.
They just want to get out there and do what they do best.
Yeah, so I think it'd be fine. Hopefully, anyway. Fingers crossed. Thursday night, we've got Melbourne and Port Adelaide at the Gabba. Port looking to bounce back after their shock loss, some would say, to St Kilda.
Yeah, probably a shock loss, especially down in Port.
Yeah.
So you definitely think so. And they're flying back up to Queensland, so they're not at home anymore.
Yeah, that's
playing
true.
At the Gabba. So, and D's, had a close loss. They'd probably hopefully I'd say bounce back, but they played really well, so hopefully continue that form, and who knows?
Yeah, I think this will be really tight.
Maybe pinch one off Port.
Yeah, I think this will be really tight. And, it just shows Port are definitely gettable. I mean, like they should have lost to Carlton the week before, and then Saints, smashed them on the weekend. So I think they're definitely gettable. Whether that loss probably wakes them up a bit, who knows?
I feel like it will. Although as good as Melbourne's, as much as they've improved, and players like Clayton Oliver, Petrarca, Max Gawn, as much as they've all lifted, I still don't see Port losing. Yeah,
I still think Port will win. But I think Melbourne will make it a fair contest.
Which will hopefully, because it's a Thursday night, they've got the primetime spot.
Yeah,
so it'd be good to see them have a good game. Well, I mean, I guess every game is almost considered primetime at the moment because they're all, it's all week. It's all week, so I don't know if you consider it primetime anymore. But they're the only game on for the night, so we'll all be watching.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Port in a close one there. Friday night, or Friday afternoon, really, in Perth, we've got Carlton and Hawthorn. Hawthorn are desperate for a win. They've been pretty average the last few weeks.
Yeah, they've been poor. They've been real poor.
Yeah, we're sort of waiting for them to, steal a win somewhere. Just because it's Hawthorn, you just sort of expect it. But I think they're just at that stage now where they're not that Hawthorn anymore, and they just need to accept the fact that they're pretty average.
Yeah, they can't hold on to past success at the moment.
Yep.
A lot of the players that got them there have moved on. I mean, you still got a couple. Sean Burgoyne for one, who arguably shouldn't be there this weekend after his another dangerous tackle he laid.
Escaped another lucky one, didn't he?
Escaped another one. I feel like they might be playing favourites there a little bit, but won't get into that. But I think Hawthorn are definitely desperate for a win, and I reckon the way they'll come out against the Blues this week will probably show how desperate they are, because I feel like they will come out pretty aggressively. Yeah, for sure. Carlton goes in as favourites again, which again makes me very nervous. But I think it's definitely a game Carlton should win, and I think equally Carlton should bounce back. I mean, they didn't play their best footy against North. They sort of they won ugly and got the job done. So I think Carlton will be looking to improve on last week, and I do think this will be a really good game though. I don't think Hawthorn will get blown out. I don't think Clarkson will allow it to happen, but I do think Carlton will win. And it'll be interesting to see, the treatment Cripps gets this week too. Whether they go after him or whether the umpires look after him. I feel like they won't go after him. The way the umpires react to clubs letting them know what's happening. I mean, look at just what Alistair Clarkson said about the holding the ball rule. Yeah. And now it's turned into the worst thing that could have happened for the game. It's true. I think with Carlton going to the AFL, the umpires in particular, and saying, hey, listen up. I think Hawthorn are smarter than to drag Cripps to the ground every contest, because I know they're going to get penalised because the AFL are aware of it now. So I don't think Hawthorn really sort of play that game anyway. Well, not usually, but then same as some of the other clubs I've seen play against, I wouldn't have thought normally do that, but I guess they've seen it work. So yeah, correct. So no, we'll see what happens. I do think the Blues will win. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Hawthorn will definitely show something, and I think Carlton just. Yeah, I got to tip the Blues as well. The form Hawthorn's in, I can't see them winning. Yeah. Friday night, so just after this game, we've got Essendon and Brisbane at Metricon.
Dylan Shields back for the Bombers, so that's a big in for them. But I still, the Bombers are looking shaky after last week.
Yeah, they'll be so excited to have Dylan Shield back. Like you said, that star power they were sort of lacking for a couple of weeks. But, they just look, like you said, shaky is probably the best word to describe them at the moment. And Brisbane is looking good. I mean, they had a tight one last week, but they're just looking good at the moment, especially with players like Lachie Neale and Charlie Cameron in such good form. I'm going to have to tip Brisbane to beat the Bombers here. Yeah,
I think Brisbane for me. I think they'll win quite comfortably. I think they'll bounce back after not their best performance anyway last week. Saturday, we've got North Melbourne and Adelaide at Metricon. Battle of the bottom.
Battle of the bottom. Well, I'm actually tipping this to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Because I think both have shown that they're at similar abilities at the moment in terms of the way they've been playing. And I don't know, I think North probably need to win this a bit more than Adelaide, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but Adelaide seem to be in better form, to be honest, don't they?
Well, Adelaide have played against some decent sides and just lost. So, Adelaide are definitely in better form. But, I mean, if North Melbourne really want to show that they're not as bad as they've been looking, they can't lose this.
No, I think North should win this. They should. But, I guess, like Adelaide, their last two games, in their last two competitive games have been at home. And they're away from home this time. So, I think this puts it into North's favour. I mean, in saying that, like North weren't too bad last week as well against Carlton. So, they did show a bit.
It was just immaturity that really lost them the game against Carlton last week. Yeah. So, definitely there. And does it hurt that Adelaide have to travel? Because I think North are already in Queensland, aren't they?
Yeah, so North don't have to move.
No.
Yes, I think Adelaide are doing the fly in, fly out, where they'd probably come up at 5 a.m. that morning.
Yeah.
So that could affect them. But, I think North will win this one.
Yeah, I'm tipping North as well.
Yeah. Later that day, we've got St Kilda and Sydney at the Gabba. Saints, this is a big chance for them to consolidate a top 4 spot.
Well, this is a good chance because the good teams will knock off the teams like Sydney who aren't awful, but they're not really a good side.
Or they're a team that they're expected to be.
And for them, they really, if they want to solidify themselves as a good side, they need to knock Sydney off and not by 3 points. They need to do it properly, and I think they will.
Yeah, they need to learn from that loss that they had against Freo.
Yeah, exactly. You can't take your foot off the pedal. And I mean, looking straight down the barrel of a top 4 spot, I can't see them not coming out firing. Yeah,
for sure. Been saying that, the Swans did come off a great win, but I still think the Saints will be too strong there. West Coast and Geelong on the Saturday night. This will be a beauty, I reckon.
Well, if it doesn't rain, that is. The way Geelong play in the rain.
That's true.
But no, this should be one of the matches of the round almost, you'd think. But West Coast are just, the way they've played, if they do that to Geelong, I don't know if Geelong will keep up with them. Yeah, I mean, Geelong,
it is hard to say because they are missing some star power.
Well, they're missing Ablett, Selwood, Jack Stephen, someone else as well in the mix. But they're missing a few.
Yeah, they're missing a lot of experience.
Yeah, 100%. So,
I think the Eagles will be too strong.
Yeah, especially back at Optus as well. Eagles, you can't see losing that one.
Yeah, and I think if the Eagles have another 10-goal win, then look out.
Yeah, then they'll definitely 100%. There'll be no doubt on them anymore. They're flag favourites
for sure. Sunday we've got Gold Coast and GWS. I think this is a massive game, isn't it?
I reckon this is big.
This is huge.
Well, if Suns win, do they play finals?
That's finals for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? They're just, and I almost think they will be able to get the win over the Giants. Giants, they're still, like I said earlier, they're missing a couple of players at the moment, and they're not playing spectacular footy compared to their normal standards.
Yeah.
I mean, players like Toby Green are obviously doing miraculous things, but Gold Coast in their own right have been doing great as well. So I think it'll be a really tight contest. And it's at Metricon.
Yeah. I think the Suns are going to win.
Yeah.
I'm going to tip them.
I'm tipping them. I'm going out on a limb. I mean, you'd think GWS will be favourites, but I'm tipping the Suns.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really want to see a good. I want to see Toby Green at one end and Isaac Rankin at the other.
That'd be good to see.
Going goal for goal.
That'd be great to see.
Isaac Rankin kicks a bit straighter this week. It'd be unreal.
Yeah. No, I'm tipping the Suns, and I hope they win, because if they do, that'll put them back in the 8, and I think they're going to play finals.
Well, for the first time, they've never played finals, have they?
Played finals.
This would be great for them.
Yeah, for sure. The other game on the Sunday is between Fremantle and Collingwood at Optus Stadium. I think Pies will be breathing fire after getting embarrassed last week, won't they?
Well, they can't lose it again, can they? After that,
No.
they were embarrassed. Had their pants pulled down.
They did. They absolutely
And
did.
unlike Tom Hawkins, it wasn't deliberately. So
Exactly.
And with side bottom back in for the Pies too. They'll be ready to fire. I reckon against Freo.
Pendlebury's out for, is it a month?
Yeah, a month. So
huge.
there goes your skipper.
Yeah,
Who's
that
big.
is huge. Yeah, I think that really affected him too on the weekend. But yeah, side bottom back is going to help a lot, and I think he's going to be back with a purpose too.
Oh, he has to, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's really got to sort of prove his worth again.
Yeah.
And
I think this would be a comfortable win for the Pies. I can't see him losing. I can definitely see him bouncing back in a big way.
yeah, well, like as we said, even after last week, they're still a good side.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
You know,
They
I know
just had a
West
bad
Coast are
day.
probably favourites at the moment, but they're not far behind West Coast.
No.
You know, so yeah, they'll bounce back big time and get a pretty comfortable win over Freo, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
But one thing I will mention about Collingwood as well, and for those who aren't, I highly encourage you to check out the YouTube video for this episode, because Collingwood players have been known to have a lot of bleached blonde hair, which, as if you're watching a YouTube video, you'll see today that, Marcus, you've done the same sort of thing. You followed the trend. You're looking like Eminem at the moment. An Italian Eminem.
That's not the first time someone's called me Slim Shady. That's for sure.
Tell you what, the black hoodie, you're looking pretty hip-hoppy at the moment.
No, yeah, definitely the Collingwood players are my inspiration.
I was going to say, is that what inspired you for
Especially Jack Crisp.
that? Jack Crisp? Yeah.
He's always been my idol.
You've always looked up to him. I think you're older than him, aren't you? How's that having an idol that's younger than you? No, it looks good. It looks good.
No, just a bit of fun. Obviously, being in lockdown at the moment, it's a good time to try new things, and I feel like I've got it out of my system, know what it looks like now, and I probably won't do it again.
Probably won't do it again.
Nah.
Well, I envy the fact that you're able to grow hair long enough to dye your hair, so I shouldn't be poking too many jokes at you. But moving on.
Moving on. Anyway, but yeah, check out the YouTube video if you want to see my bleached blonde hair. But yeah, just a bit of fun, and that's probably the last time you'll see it. All right. So the debate question for this episode is: who do you think will win the Coleman medal this season? I know it's a very tight race, and there's a lot of players on that list that aren't really, definitely weren't considered for it at the start of the season.
Well, there's so many different types of players too. Like normally small forwards aren't even in the conversation, but I think Papley's leading at the moment.
You got Papley up there, Dan Butler's up there,
Charlie Cameron's up there.
Charlie Cameron.
And then you got your Dixons, your Kennedys.
Yeah.
There's so many different players that are in the mix, and because not many goals are being kicked. I mean, apart from Kennedy booting 7 and Toby Green kicking 4. Toby Green is in there as well.
Yep.
Him kicking 5 and all that. Not many big bags this year, so it's a really close tally.
It is. It's gonna come right down to the wire, and it's not going to be a big score either.
No, I don't think anyone's kicking 100 goals this year.
No, absolutely not. I think they'll be lucky to get 50, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. But yeah, let us know. We'll post that on our Instagram story, and just let us know who you think, and we'll share some of the players that you bring up, and I know who do you think's going to take it out.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, with Tom Papley's consistency, he's kicking at least 1 goal a game, and he's done it for a certain amount of time. Unless Kennedy keeps kicking bags like he is, I think Papley's probably going to win it.
Yep.
And I mean, unlike our last debate, someone chimed in. I don't think Steven Seagal's going to win it.
Unlikely to win it.
Yeah. He might get an All-Australian, but I don't think he's going to win the Coleman medal, so we'll leave him out of the combo this time.
I'd say he's very unlikely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tip Charlie Cameron.
Yeah.
I think he's he's something special.
Well, he's electric, isn't he?
Oh, see the goal he kicked on the weekend. Oh my god, he's a freak. Yeah, I think he can do it, especially in playing in a good team like Brisbane. I think he'll take it out. But yeah, let us know on our Instagram story, and we'll share some of the players that you mentioned. But that is us done for another episode. It's been good. Another long one, another condensed one. It's again, we've had a lot to talk about. This season's just throwing up a lot of things.
Well, it's been good. It gives us plenty to talk about, and we definitely have to adapt with the times,
We
especially
do.
with what's happening with the league at the moment. So, playing it week by week at the moment, but I think we're just doing the one for next week.
We are, yeah. So, so just the one next week, and we'll be doing that pretty much until the AFL rounds go back to normal.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. So, with the games being on almost every day for the next 3 weeks, we're just going to have to cram the review and preview into one episode, and I think it's working well. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, so we'll keep doing that. But yeah, make sure, as we say every week, just make sure you leave us a review on Spotify, on iTunes, and on YouTube. We appreciate all the support that you've been giving us, and we can't thank you guys enough. It means the absolute world, and please keep them rolling in, and make sure you share them with your friends as well, because we're trying our absolute best here to give you the best content available, and it means a lot to get all your positive feedback.
And pardon the pun, but we work best under pressure.
We do.
So the more people we have listening, the better we'll perform.
We love the pressure.
The better we'll perform. So yeah, definitely share it around with your friends and get as many people listening as possible.
You've recycled that gag.
I've recycled that gag. I've used it a couple times now.
But yeah, that's us done for this week, and have a great week. Enjoy the 20 days of footy, and we hope the team wins.
Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point!